They're buying it to set up shop for their own operations and their own spying and their own control of our economy. This chart has just a very simple number on it. In 2020, Chinese entities owned almost 200,000 acres of land in the United States. 1 year later, they're at almost 400,000 acres in the United States. In 1 year. This is from 2020 to 2021. This trend is happening all over the country, and we're certainly seeing it in my state, in Oklahoma. When I travel around my state, I hear people talk about the border, I hear people talk about the economy, and I often will hear people say, hey, there's a lot of foreign ownership going into land right now in Oklahoma, and it's dramatically affecting the price of real estate, the price of agricultural land, but also what's happening on that land. Now, my state may be a little bit different than some others, or it may be the same thing happening in your state. About half a decade ago, my state did medical marijuana legalization in my state. It was a decision of the voters in my state to be able to say they want to get access to medical marijuana for those that needed it. The problem is that Chinese entities and Chinese criminal organizations and Mexican cartels immediately flooded the market in our state, and we've seen a rapid rise in marijuana in our state, much of it done in the illegal market. It's not just happening for the quote-unquote medical side in our state. It's being distributed all over the country from my state. It's just a few months ago that I was looking on different worldwide news sources and was shocked to be able to see in the BBC news headlines for that day a story about my state on the global news headlines about a group of Chinese nationals that were shot execution style in a grow operation in Oklahoma. The individual who executed them was on the run and then was arrested in Florida a couple of days later, also a Chinese national. Chinese criminal organizations have moved into my state in mass numbers. The year after marijuana was legalized in my state for quote-unquote medical purposes, we had more land sales to foreign entities in Oklahoma than any other state in America, as Chinese criminal organizations and Mexican cartels immediately moved in to be able to set up shop in distribution nationwide. Many people said, I didn't think it was legal for foreign entities to be able to own land in the United States. Well, there's a gap actually in our law. And it's an issue that I want us to be able to deal with on how we're going to challenge this issue. Let me give you just another perspective, beyond just the Chinese side of things, another perspective on this. 10 years ago, 321,000 acres in America in Oklahoma, 321,000 acres in Oklahoma were owned by a foreign entity 10 years ago. Today, it's 1.67 million acres in my state are owned by a foreign entity. From 321,000 to 1.67 million acres. There's a rapid transition that's happening where foreign entities are rapidly buying up land. And I would tell you, if you're a farmer and rancher, they would say there are some things that God's just not making more of, and one of them is land. You can't just give that up. This is a problem, and it's a problem nationally. It's not just a problem in the marijuana industry. It's a problem nationally. It's a problem dealing, quite frankly, with our national security. We currently have a 1 mile buffer around all of our military installations that you can't own land if you're a foreign entity within 1 mile around our military installations. We now believe that's not near enough. And quite frankly, foreign nationals from many countries like China buying up the land around our critical infrastructure, around our telecom infrastructure, around military bases, around government offices. They're not buying it because they're looking for another place to invest. They're buying it to set up shop for their own operations and their own spying and their own control of our economy. We should pay attention to this.